few weeks back I was sent a little torch, the Sofirn SC31pro little torch, and I'll review that. I like this torch, I really do like this torch. It's very useful, quite handy. The people who sent it to me said, did I want to review another torch? So they've sent me the IF25a, which is its big brother, I guess. Quite a bit chunkier, as you can see. It's a bit wider, it's a little bit shorter, and it's a bit heavier. Before we start though, a little disclaimer: I've been sent these torches for free. I'm not being paid to say whether I like them or not, so my review will be as impartial as I can be about a torch. So for comparison, the SC31 weighs 100 grams with its battery in there. This weighs 165 grams with its battery in there, so it's half as heavy again, and you can actually feel the difference when you're holding them. This is probably better to hold because it's slightly wider, for bigger hands probably, but it does feel heavier. This is pocketable. You can put this in your pocket and you hardly notice you've got it there, whereas I think you'd probably struggle if you had this in your pocket. You'd know about it. It's more of a bag or rucksack size, this one. If I unscrew this, it does feel very well made. I mean, that is a very sort of smooth thread. It's got a huge battery in it. This is a 4000 milliamp hour battery, and I think that's quite a bit of its weight in there. You can see how big it is. It's the 21700 lithium ion 3.7 volt rechargeable battery. I'll put that back in there, screw the back on, and you can see it's got the recharging. Let me just it's like a difficult to show. There's a rubber bung that you push open, and it's got the USB-C charging port in there. I guess you'd want to charge it for a couple of hours before using it. Make sure it's fully charged up. As you're charging it, the light here, which tells you whether it's coming on or not, is red, and when it's charged up it's green. This is a little tube that allows you to use the smaller battery from the other torch. So if you worried about running out of battery and you had both torches or both batteries, you can take the battery out of the smaller SC31pro, insert it in this tube, and then as long as you go the right way round, you can drop the smaller battery into the bigger torch. And it still works. Obviously you don't get as long run time. And those are the two batteries together. Right way up. Like I say, it feels well made. It's made out of aircraft grade aluminium that's been anodized to stop it scratching. I've had it for a couple of weeks now and I've not managed to scratch it yet. The edges of the fin feel a little bit, they catch your finger a little bit, but they're not scratchy. I suppose it's just easy to grip, and there's a bit of a heat fin, that effect there. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a heat fin, and it does get warm, this, when you put it on full power. It is waterproof. It can be submerged up to 2 meters, but it's certainly not one you would take diving with you, I guess. So if you drop it in a bit of water, it'd probably be okay. It has got O-rings around the bits that seal. In the bag you do get some replacement O-rings in case you lose those, and a lanyard that you can attach to it, which I haven't done. It's got 4 LEDs in here, and it's behind a toughened glass lens, so it should be alright. So how does it work? On the simplest mode, you click the button for on off. It goes to the brightness level that you previously had. If you press and hold, it increases the brightness. Press and hold again, it decreases the brightness. And that's probably all that most people using this torch will ever do with it. When you switch it on, you just hold it briefly, it goes into like moon mode. So that's a very sort of low mode, and you can actually look at that. Turn it off. just click to turn it off again. If you click 3 times, 1, 2, 3, it goes into blinking mode. It's got different sort of blinking modes. The first one is doing a battery check, so if you want to know how well your battery's doing, it blinks. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means it's 3.9 volts. That's the battery. So we know the battery is reasonably well charged up. If I double click again, it goes into what's called sunset mode, so sort of slightly sort of reasonable brightness. Double click again. Yep. Double click again. And it's in beacon mode now. So it's sort of flashing. That's like an emergency beacon, and you can, I think you can hold it to make it brighter and faster. Double click again, and now it's gone back. This is temperature check now, so it's actually flashing out the temperature that it thinks it is. So it's going 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it thinks it's 17 degrees in here, which is probably roughly right. If I go click, click, hold, let's try that. Click, click, hold. That intensely irritating is the bike flasher mode. I'll double click it again. Sorry, that was... This is lightning mode. Click, click, and that's candle mode. Click, click, and that's a bike flasher mode, so you could put that on your helmet. Click, click, and that's party strobe, so if you wanted a party strobe light, you got it. Click, click, and that's tactical strobe, and anyone who couldn't see that on a dark night. Click. Oh, it's quite hard on the eyes, that, so I apologise for that. 4 clicks is meant to put it in a disabled mode. I can never seem to get it in there. Let's just try that again. If you get stuck in any of the modes, the easiest thing to do, and it tells you in the manual, is just to disconnect the battery by unscrewing the back and click it back on. So let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and it still can't do it. I really must stop you there, Bob. This is a bad case of not reading the manual. If you read the manual properly, you'd realise that 4 clicks on the torch puts it into like a safe mode. I think it's probably a better way of describing it. Oh, still can't do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what it does is it puts it in a low mode. And the idea of that is that you can't have the torch coming on full blast when it's in a pocket or a handbag, because as it warns you, you can actually sort of, you know, if you're bashing about in a handbag, as it warns you, you can actually burn paper with it on full mode, so you don't want it coming on there. So that's actually a good safety feature. Let's just 5 clicks puts it into this momentary mode, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's if you want to signal Morse code in case things get bad. 6 clicks puts it into it's like a limited mode. They call it muggle mode. So that's it. 6 clicks to exit. No, it's still in momentary mode. So that's the trouble with this. Disconnect it, screw it back on. So you get the idea. When it's on, if you go 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, it changes to stepped mode. So if you're on the brightest setting and you hold it, it steps down step by step. Some people might prefer that mode rather than it doing the smooth ramp, as they call it. So when it's on. So 1, 2, 3, and that puts it back into the smooth mode. Right, I think the only way I can show you how bright the torch is or not is comparing three of the torches I've got. This is the, I don't know how to say that, Petzl head torch that I bought, I think it's a couple of years ago now. That's got 3 levels of brightness, so I'll try that on the full brightness and we'll shine it across the motorhome and see what it looks like. This is the Sofirn SC31pro that I reviewed a couple of weeks back, and this is the Sofirn IF25a. So I'm going to switch the van lights off, I'll turn you around and see what you think. So the only light we've got coming in now is just the sort of daylight coming through the blinds. Right, so that's the head torch. I'm just shining it at the left curtain on full power, and it's illuminating the blind, a bit of the door, and the bottom of the lockers. That's the SC31 Pro, and that's again shining at the curtain there, and that's illuminating quite an area there. It goes from the fridge to the, well, just the front of the passenger seat, and it illuminates the whole of the lockers there and the floor and most of the seat, but it's actually getting quite warm to hold. And that's the IF25a, same thing, and it's pretty similar. I think if anything it's probably illuminating the passenger seat a bit more. The beam is very similar, it's getting quite warm to hold. But it's illuminating the whole of the cab area as well as the lockers. So it's quite a wider spread of light, so a lot more light there. And actually the torch is quite warm to hold. It's not unbearable, but it is warm, so I don't know how hot this would get if I left it on. Yeah, so that's the lights of the motorhome. They look comparatively dim compared to the two Sofirn torches, and a little bit sort of yellow as well. So yeah, I wish I could show you how warm this feels. It fit. How could I describe it? It's like a hot water bottle. It's not unbearable. It would keep your hands warm on a cold night. Probably about body temperature, I would say. So I suppose it's not. Yeah, it's not unreasonable amount of heat on that, but it is cooling down now. More likely, you're going to be turning. Let's switch that on. You'd probably turn it down. You probably don't need that massive amount of illumination, but it's there if you do. C31. IF25. So what did I like about the torch? I think on the plus side, it is amazingly bright. I got an old torch out at the weekend and compared it, and this thing just blows it out of the water. It is really, really bright. I'll show you some bit of testing I did in here, completely unscientific testing we did in the motorhome, and it would be really, really useful to have this torch if perhaps you were caving or exploring castles like us, or abbeys or anything like that. And like I say, I think you'd have this in your rucksack, or my man bag. I'd probably put it in a man bag. It does get a touch warm when you're on the full brightness. I think I've mentioned this, but you can feel it getting quite warm. And it actually warns you in the manual that if you have it on its highest setting, there's a danger you can set fire to paper with it. It gets that warm, and you can feel it on your hand when you turn it right up. You can actually feel how warm that and it's like, you know, when you used with a kid you had the magnifying glass. It's that warm. It's well made. It uses aircraft grade aluminium, so that's good. It's anti-abrasive, and I think it's pretty rugged, particularly if it's going to be rattling around in a cupboard in the motorhome. I think that's great. I love the fact that it's rechargeable, that you can recharge it. I think that's the future. Don't want to be going hunting around for batteries. So, and the battery should last a long time. I haven't had recharge it since we got it. I don't know how long it will last. Only time will tell. And perhaps I'll pick that up in a future video. It has all the modes you could possibly ever want, you know, including beacon and Morse code mode and that sort of thing. So what are the negatives? I'm not sure you'd use all the modes. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but I think you'd probably just want the on and off and brighter or dimmer. But they're there if you need them, and I don't suppose you're paying any more for the modes. It's difficult to remember sometimes what all the modes are, and like I say, it's easy to remember to switch it on and hold it to put it, make it brighter or whatever. But I'd keep some notes on my phone. I think I said this on the last one. Just keep some notes so I could remember how to get into Morse code mode, or indeed how to get out of it. So I think it's a great torch to have around the motorhome. Probably better in the house. You know, if you've got power cuts or something like that, maybe this torch would be something you'd grab out of the drawer, and you could use it to light the room that you're sitting in. It is that powerful. Would I spend £47 on it? That's a more difficult one. If you really wanted a good torch, this is a good torch. I'm not just saying that. I think it is a good torch. It is brightest. I think it's the brightest torch I've ever had. And it's not that huge, so you know. Very interesting that I sent these two torches. I mean, obviously they realise that people in motorhomes, caravans, campervans are going to be looking for torches. We all have a torch somewhere, whether you want to spend £27 on a little one or £47 on a big chunky one. It's up to you. Yeah, so I hope you found this interesting. Let us know what you think about this torch. Is it something you'd take with you? Is it something you might take on hiking, adventures, or let us know what you might use it for. And leave a comment below. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe, hit the notifications icon,